So this is a little bit of a history of the environmental movement. Like before 1950s, nobody really thought about the environment as part of the human nature. But then there were very interesting books. One of them was The Silent Spring by Hudson. And then there was a report from Concerned Scientists in 1969. And then there was a book of Limits to Growth in 1970 that started bringing the environmental issues agenda into policy or into the public discussion. So later on, there was the meeting that was held in Rio in 1992 called the Earth Summit. And this is where most government leaders came and discussed about the environment and development, and they put these things into context. And from here, they had one thing called the Agenda 21, which is a non-binding UN action plan for sustainable development, and basically bringing issues of environment into development issues. So there are several principles. I think there were more than 20-something principles that the government agreed on. And one of them was, actually the agreement was government should form institutions within their countries that are going to spearhead environmental management or environmental sustainability. So this meeting was held in 1992. And in 1999, 7 years later, in Kenya we are a little bit slower, is when the government of Kenya implemented the EMCA, the Environmental Management and Coordination Act of 1999. And this act established several bodies that are going to spearhead the environmental management in Kenya. One of them was NEMA, the National Environment Management Authority, which was more of an enforcer of environmental laws. And then there was NetFund, was established under the same act, with the main mandate of looking for resources to support the environment sector. And under EMCA, these are our four major mandates. One of them is to facilitate research and publication, awards, scholarship and grants, and also capacity building. But within EMCA, NetFund was not supposed to do these things, but it was supposed to look for resources to facilitate these kind of activities. So if you look at the government of Kenya, the institution that should be GCF accredited is actually NetFund, and we have not moved in that direction yet.
So NetFund is under the Ministry of Environment, or
yes.
It is? Okay. All right. And can I ask you, sorry, because I know this is very important. So you also, I think you have to establish the climate change or climate fund in Kenya, which,
yes,
is that correct?
There is a climate fund under the climate.
But it's not connected to NetFund, or?
No, it's not.
So why was NetFund not used for the climate fund, for example?
There was a lot of discussions whether they should actually merge NetFund and climate change fund. But again, for you to do that, you have to go through, because both of them are established by an act of parliament, you have to go through all that parliamentary process.
The duplication, and
it is actually a duplication. And there is a lot of debate. In fact, right now, the climate change fund is not yet established. There's still a lot of discussions. Yeah.
Is it going to be under NEMA, the fund?
In fact, the fund is under National Treasury.
Okay.
So NetFund is under the Ministry of Environment. And the climate change fund, there is structured, I think there is this body that the president chairs. Yeah, there is a lot of duplication. And this is some of the challenges in government. There is a lot of duplications. But I think the thinking, when I talked to Otichio, who was the guy pushing the Climate Change Act, he wanted to have that specific fund that focuses on climate financing. And I think this was from the experiences of the CDMs and all those other opportunities that we have lost. So for NetFund, our vision has always been for sustainable financing for environmental management in Kenya. And mainly the resources is basically to mobilize resources for our mandates. For the next 5 years, we have this overarching goal to bridge the environmental sector funding gap by 5%. 5% might look like a really small number, but the sector annual budget is around 334 billion. And the government, I think, just avails around 60. So we have 5% actually is around 16 billion shillings for the sector. So the sector, in fact, the environment is one of the least funded sectors in Kenya. I think we only get around 2 to 3% of the total national budget. That is the entire ministry, parastatals, and all the other projects within that. So that is a management structure. I don't think I have to go through that. But our biggest decision-making body is the Board of Trustees, followed by the CEOs, and then we have the directorates. So we have a couple of flagship programs. One of them is promoting green innovations, and I think we have done a lot of work here with a lot of partners here. Also, we support a lot of implementation of the sector plans. And one of the plans that we are pushing forward really hard is the GESIP, the Green Economy Strategy and Implementation Plan. And we actually have some little resources from the African Development Bank to kind of develop bankable proposals that we can send to GCF for funding. Over the years, this is some of the things we have done. I think for me the most exciting one is we have created over 2,300 direct green jobs, and there is a lot of potential in creating more jobs in this sector. I had a couple of examples of those green jobs, but I think we can discuss that another time. So, for example, this one is, there are some guys we are supporting and they are taking waste from the city and building roofing tiles and also floor tiles. And this business is doing quite well. So they're taking waste from Nairobi, the city, and recycling that. We are supporting some guys in Kisumu who are taking the notorious water hyacinth and turning that into plastic bags, to shopping bags. With a ban on plastic bags, these guys are doing really well. We also have a gentleman who is taking the same wind hyacinth and turning it into bioethanol. And this bioethanol is used for cooking and lighting at household level. So this is also a very exciting project. So this is the project I talked about, the support of the implementation of GESIP. And we got some money from AFDB and also from the government of Kenya to develop a couple of projects. And the main objective of that project is to develop investment-ready programs and projects that will help the country transition towards a green economy. And the main targets we are thinking is, we have brought it on board. It's actually very interesting that we have this training, because when we advertised for consulting firms or consultants to help us develop bankable projects for this year, I think we got one firm from Kenya. Everybody else was from outside. The Kenyan firm was also, when we did the evaluation, could not meet the requirements. So there is a lot of capacity gap in the country. So one of the firms we hired was from South Africa, and the other one was from the UK. And I think we'll be advertising another opportunity in the coming months, because there is still one that we have not gotten the right consultants. So that project has two main objectives. One of them is to build the capacity building, to build the capacity of the Interministerial Resource Mobilization Committee. So the Ministry of Environment did bring all together all the resource mobilizing people from the various departments and parastatals together and formed the Ministerial Resource Mobilizing Committee, which I'm actually the co-chair. The chair is Agnes Yoteric. And this committee tries to mobilize resources for the sector in Kenya. And one of the main focus is actually GCF. That's why I'm here. I'm really excited to learn some of these tricks to getting GCF funding. So far, the committee, I think we've been operating for the last 3 years, and we have not raised enough money, but we have raised a substantial amount, and we are looking forward to doing this more. The other objective of the project was to develop the investments ready projects and proposal for resource mobilization. I don't have to go to the outputs, but that is it. That is our experience with DCF. That is where we stand. But I would say within the government of Kenya circles, there is a serious capacity gap. NEMA, who is our sister organization, is accredited to DCF, and they've been requesting for funding proposals. And I think so far they have around 7 of them. And there is a lot of promise that they might be able to get funding in the coming year. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have been sanctioned by the Kenya government. I think some came from the UNDP. I know there is one in the pipeline from IUCN. And I think also Conservation International. Conservation International, I think they're together with IUCN. HIVOS also have a proposal. I think the concept notes has gone through the GCF and they have given some very good feedback. And I think the HIVOS one is about briquettes, building a briquettes innovation ecosystem in the country and trying to see whether we can replace charcoal and firewood. I think the IUCN one is looking at kind of ecosystem-based adaptation. I know that the ones from NEMA, around 7 of them, some of them are looking at ecosystem-based adaptation, mainly on the Athi River catchment. I think there is another one for Tana. There is a couple for private sector. In fact, the private sector is one of the most ignored areas in Kenya when people are sending the proposal out. So the ones I think I shared with you was on building the capacity of private sector to kind of retrofit their technologies and move to cleaner and less emitting technologies. I think there is another one that is with the counties, trying to improve some of the value chains of some crops within those counties. So overall, there is a lot of ideas that we have pushed forward, but those ideas have not been developed into proposals per se. Most of these things are concepts. Yes, concept note stage. So there is a lot of work to be done, and I think there is need for expertise to develop these proposals. This concept note to full proposals.
If you just a bit looking at it from the overall institutional arrangement, how is the process arranged in Kenya?
Yes. So the National Treasury is the NDA, and I think we only have NEMA as the local NIE that is accredited to GCF. So most of the ideas that are coming to Kenya, and NEMA is accredited for the micro, which means you can only access $10 million. And they're also accredited to only access grants. So if you are writing something for private sector, that private sector might take its own, and then it's needed for the payment and all those things, then there you have to go in an international organization. I think for the project we're implementing, AFDB has come out very strongly, saying if you develop any interesting ideas, we as AFDB are ready to push it to GCF. Again, the GCF, the requirements for co-financing, co-funding, I think that's why AFDB becomes very, very attractive to push some of these ideas through. So in Kenya, it's basically National Treasury. NEMA is the one that pushes the ideas through the National Treasury. But also I understand there is a lot of politics. I know Kilby is doing a project now. Is that UNIDO or UNIDO? Yes, there is one I have had.
Is that the green in the Kenya, the industrial zone?
Yes,
Okay.
we've been given an okay to finalize it by October this year. So we are using a consulting firm just to ensure that we get it right this time.
Yeah. Otherwise it doesn't,
Yeah, it
so you're
doesn't.
not going to get there without it.
Yeah.
The requirements are too strenuous.
Right. The GCF financing is very, very complicated. But even apart from GCF, we are not able to access the simple financing mechanism. Like, for example, the numbers. I think that is a much easier process to get the money. I think we wrote a concept as government for building light rails. The NAMA approved it, but the internal politics government makes it very difficult. So GCF, for me, if I was actually to give an honest opinion, I think it has to be pushed by private sector and also development organizations like ACT and such. Or for government, we can come in just to give the support and give all the signatures that are required. But if we are to drive the agenda seriously, I think we need a lot of involvement from other parties. Government is also important, but I think I think government is important, but I think your type of institutions are the ones that are going to push this agenda. If we leave it to government, it will be the same thing as CBA. But I have to say that I just looked at the concept notes with DCF right now, and I think around 32% are from Africa, but I don't know how many of those will be funded. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, just maybe participants will ask this a few questions before the next person. But this means if you talk of NEMA, the treasury being the national NDAs, so what this means is that anybody within Kenya who wants to access the GCF funding, they have to submit their proposals to the treasury, the NDAs, or
Yes,
through NEMA as well. How do you choose who to?
I think for Kenya, if you want to send a proposal to GCF, and I think this is because of the architecture of GCF, all the projects funded by GCF have to be in line with government priorities and government plans. So for you to send something to GCF, it has to get an objection letter from the National Treasury or the NDA. So they have to look at it and say, this is in line with our planning, or this is a country priority, and we encourage GCF to fund it. So that is one of the routes. You can use that route if you have an accredited entity that is pushing that proposal for you.
Yeah.
And I think for Kenya, most of the accredited entities are international bodies. I think most of the UN bodies. I think AFDB is also accredited. Acumen is also accredited for Kenya. We try to get accreditation for Kenya National KCB and also GDC. But I understand the processes have been stalled. It has taken a long time. So the options for Kenya that are there is you go with the international organization. If you're looking for funding bigger than beyond 10 million. If you're looking for the micro, then you can go through NEMA. But NEMA has those limitations that they can only give grants. So unless you structure something around grants. And for GCF, I don't think it's very keen on grants. I know almost 50% of the requests are grants. But they're looking more of bankable ideas that you can generate money and all that. Now, the other interesting thing in Kenya, for you to write a good GCF concept, I think co-financing is very, very critical, or to indicate that there are people who are already interested to put in their money. I actually think that is how you measure bankable. If you have a bankable proposal, then a bank should be ready to put in some money. So that creates a lot of problems in Kenya. And I also think even for us who are developing projects and programs for Kenya, I don't think we are thinking hard enough, because I think there are so many opportunities that we can actually build. I have to give you an example. I was talking to the CEO of Tourism Fund, and he was saying if you go to most of our hotels in Kenya, the amount of water they use, they have those old technologies. Flushing the toilet, you use 2 gallons. When you look at their power systems, they're all very, very inefficient. And that is a very nice concept you can put together. It's actually easier. And tell them the hotels, they are coming and helping you retrofit and improve on your system so that you use less water, use less power, and increase the efficiency of the hotel. And the hotels will be very much ready to jump into that because it's a savings for them. But if you look at most of us in government trying to design these projects, we are developing projects at community level, working with farmers to improve their irrigation systems. Oh, they're great ideas, but they're not transformative enough to the level that the GCF is looking at. So there's a big challenge that we also need to think a little bit bigger and harder and more innovative.
Maybe because the accreditation of the KCB is very close to, they're almost there. I had a meeting with them people, and it's almost at the end of the process, and when they're ready to receive up to 250 million, that will go.
Right. I think that would be very, very exciting. If they can design those for
But then you have to design the project.
Yes.
With respect to my personal experience with GCF, we've done a concept note already, and it has been approved by the GCF Secretariat. So we have been given an okay to finalize a concept, the full proposal by October. And we have a consulting firm from the UK called Ecolim, so they're helping us to do that so that we get it right once and for all. So as they do this, we are also learning from them through a learning and learning process. Yes, please.
Did you receive project preparation funds to help you develop the project?
No. We were very strategic in this. What we did is we talked to UNEP. So UNEP is meeting the cost of concept, not
You work
development.
through UNEP?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, okay.
As well as full proposal development. So we speak UNEP is the one finding the consultant is involved. So in this proposal, we are going to be the executing entity. We created the entity with UNEP, the one based in Osaka, Japan. So basically, I'm just going to talk about what CRIBS is and so on. So CRIBS is Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute. It's basically a national research institute under the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Cooperatives. We were established in 1979 under the Science Technology Act 250, which has now been repealed into the Science, Technology and Innovation Act of 2013. Our core mandate is basically to do basic and applied research in those areas: engineering, life sciences, material sciences, environmental sciences, chemical, energy, and have our findings translated to the Kenyan SME sector so that they can be competitive and contribute to the country's industrial process of existing Kenyan national economy. So that's basically what we do. So we have 9 divisions and 4 service centers. So the divisions are listed over there. And we have the service centers. We have a few centers outside Nairobi, but most of our work is basically centered in Nairobi. So our job is basically to do research, gather the evidence, research, demonstration, and development. So what are we doing in this space? In order to capture these opportunities, we are partnering with Danida and also partnering with UNEP. So the Danida project is called Green Economy, Circular Economy Innovation for Kenyan Industry. And it's about 5 million krona. And we're going to do that in the Waraka area of Nairobi. Then with UNEP, we are developing a project on the greening of Kenya's special economic zones to industrial parks. And this is going to build on the CECO experience that we are going to get from Waraka. So the CECO experience, the NIDA project, we launched it on June 12th last month. And we are starting activities in September this year. So just a bit about what the CECO project is all about. Basically, it's going to promote industrial symbiosis. We are going to work with industries to ensure that we develop a database that can facilitate waste and byproduct exchange among the companies. So this is going to be a collaborative approach involving physical exchange of materials, energy, and services among different firms located within the Waraka industrial cluster. So through industrial symbiosis, these firms will seek to achieve competitive advantage arising from lower production costs and increased revenue base. Our aim is to ensure that we move away from a wasteful linear economic development model, where you take raw materials, where you add on them, consume and discard waste. That's not sustainable. To a circular model where we are trying to retain the materials within valuable economic chains for as much as possible. So this will involve improving the capabilities of these firms, eco-management, eco-auditing, as well as eco-accounting. So what do we hope to achieve in the Waraka cluster? We want to create a win for protection and restoration of the Waraka environment, a win for economic development, a win for social equity and well-being. So what is the marketing proposition for this? Why should our Waraka company be involved in this? So we are promising them cost savings through reduced wastage of energy, water, and materials, improved operational efficiency of the plants, better product quality and consistency, recovery of waste for reuse, possibility to improve the working environment, in occupational health and safety, improvement of the enterprise's reputation and public image, better compliance, cost savings with regard to the management of end-of-pipe interventions, and new and improved market opportunities. So if this company is impressed, industrial symbiosis, which is basically waste and pipe product exchange, they will have increased profits, improved sales, and create green jobs. New business opportunities will come up, and of course, knowledge transfer and innovation. Then industrial symbiosis will also lead to avoided greenhouse gas emissions in terms of CO2, reduce pressure on the use of finite virgin materials, and of course, reduce hazardous pollution loadings, and even reduce transport costs. So KECO is a partnership between us and the Technical University of Denmark. We also have University of Nairobi there. We also have Kenyatta University. And our overall goal is to promote industrial symbiosis and also to foster the exchange of byproducts, materials, and other assets among Waraka-based companies so that they can be reused and recycled, hence serving as inputs for new processes. So basically, we want to move from wastefully linear to the resource-efficient circular. So KECO will put emphasis on the promotion of collaboration between organizations, a collective approach to competitive advantage, involving physical exchange of materials, energy, water, and byproducts. Together, the shared use of assets, logistics, and expertise. So to achieve these goals, CRIBS will focus on, this is how we intend to roll out this project. We are saying that we must, first of all, promote resource use efficiency at process level, fixing spillages, leakages, process level, using cleaner production, interventions. So it's only the inevitable residual waste that we shall subject to an exchange framework. So doing that will mean that we reduce our pressure on the use of virgin materials and also extend the lifespan of quickly filling up landfills. So we are going to build on information channels that favor the exchange of information and data concerning the inputs and outputs, analyze the potential synergies and exchanges, then use that from pilot to show that it actually works. We can exchange waste. And by doing that, be competitive and also conserve the environment. So these are basically what CRIBS will be doing. We shall be identifying eco-innovation potentials, promoting resource efficiency, internal recycling, and of course the exchange. So to do that, we shall characterize the different residue streams. So we go to those companies, help quantify the material flows, what goes in, what goes out. Great. So in a nutshell, I can be more brief and just say that what we have done is this is our approach. We are trying to use the partnership with Danida, with the Technical University of Denmark, to do a pilot of 2 years and use the lessons from that pilot to be able to inform the design of our UNEP Greening Special Economics Industrial Parks project. Now, KECO is going to be for 2 years, and in the KECO program, we are going to undertake material flow analysis so that we get to know what those companies consume, what they release as waste, byproducts, quantify that, put that in a database. So this database is going to facilitate interactions between those companies so that if I have this amount of waste and then you need it for something and you are brought together to be able to negotiate and start exchanging the waste streams. So by doing this, waste that was otherwise destined for the landfill will eventually be used as a useful resource, and therefore that reduces pressure on virgin material use and also extends the lifespan of our landfills. Now, this will take 2 years, and we are hoping that the lesson from here will now be able to inform our interventions for the bigger UNEP project, which will be about $25 million with some co-financing element to it. So, as much as Waraka will focus on only Waraka, The bigger unit project we do Waraka, then it does Athi River, then it does the EPZ based in Mombasa. So, yes please.
Who's paying for the feasibility studies?
Who is
Paying for the feasibility studies, it's a lot of work.
feasibility studies under the unit project
Yes.
have been done by UNEP.
Are they already been done?
Yes,
Okay, all
the
right.
concept note development, which involved pre-feasibility, was funded by UNEP.
Okay.
The full proposal development is being funded by UNEP. So we were very strategic. We brought UNEP on board. This money to help us to do that. Yes.
So you have everything in place, but because you still, now you're starting the process of the project proposal writing, is it? Or
Yes.
you're in the middle of it, or how far advanced are you?
The Danida one is complete. We are going to start in September. The UNEP one, the concept note has been accepted. So you have an okay from DCF Secretariat to do the full proposal.
So
So
we'll
that's
take-
why we have the Eco Limited on board,
Mm.
trying to help us do it right so that
And how
we don't
long
have
will it
issues.
take? What is the time frame for?
We are supposed to finalize and submit by October
That's
2018.
short.
Yes.
Wow.
And as we speak, the consultant is in Kenya, trying to do stakeholder
Exactly, and
consultations.
that's with the stakeholder consultations, you know.
But most of it has already been done, and I think we are ready to go.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Just a few things. We want to build synergies in those two projects. Somebody saying, I have this waste. Another is saying, I want it. So we bring them together, they build a synergy. And then they negotiate and exchange their wastes. And for your information, this is turning out to be very exciting. And for it to work, of course, we need to promote trust, which is very critical. We need to be very smart and lower the transaction costs. And of course, avoid the barriers. The UNEP project has 3 interventions. One is enabling policy framework. We've noticed through the feasibility that we need to review some policies to facilitate Western part of the exchange. So we shall have activities there. The next one is basically capacity building and technical know-how. And the third one will be investment potential, investment opportunities. So that now we can have a green credit line to enable the banks to support some of the capital intensive interventions. We have been having a bit of a problem with this because UNEP is not accredited to do that kind of thing. So we shall need to bring in commercial banks.
Exactly.
I'm talking to KCB
KCB,
and
yeah.
cooperative bank
Yeah.
just to help in that direction. So in a nutshell, that's what we hope to do. And so you can see it's 25 million years co-financing of about to be 3 times that. So we got an okay in January. So we want to do everything by October and submit. My experience with GCF is that it's a lot of work. And I think the best thing to do is to start with those who already have the experience so that a lot of mistakes can be avoided, fixed in the initial stages. By that doing, like now with ECO, we are learning with them. I'm hoping that after this experience, I should be able to roll out these proposals in my own. So it's fairly an expensive exercise, and partnering with donors who have money would be a very good thing to do. So in a nutshell, that's our approach. We are partnering with Danida, we also partner with UNEP, and I think they have made our work very easy. We have also been trained in green economy, circular economy issues in Denmark. So we are trying to see how those skills can be injected in this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Quick question.
Yes.
How is any of the other institutions, the government institutions, which are part of the GCF process, like NEMA and the Treasury, involved in this? Are they involved in, I mean, you submitted the concept through NEMA, I suppose?
No, NEMA is one of, NEMA is basically, NEMA's mandate is basically enforcement. So in all this that we're going to do, we will have an all to do with involvement. Initially, we wanted to make them an executing entity, but we discovered that the spirit of MCA, the law that created them, is that NEMA has to coordinate and supervise, and it does that through lead agencies. So we saw a bit of conflict of interest. So their job is basically the enforcement, supervision of the activities we're going to do.
Okay.
Yeah. And the NDA is that we got, before we started this process, we were forced to get a no objection letter from the National Disclosure Authority, which is the National Treasury, as the beginning point.
Okay.
Once they gave us that, then we engaged UNEP. So that UNEP's role is to help us do the concept note, to meet all the costs, and also help us to do the final proposal development. And it's working out well for us because we didn't have budget line for this. And some of these activities run into millions of shillings. Like for example, full proposal development is costing about 100,000 US dollars. That's about 10 million Kenya shillings.
Yeah.
It's not easy for government, state corporations to get
And that includes the
But UNEP is
feasibility
doing that.
studies. That includes the feasibility studies, or they were already funded by
The concept
dates.
not funded the spirit studies. And that
So that
went to the
includes
tune of,
100,000, includes the
it went
feasibility
into the tune of 30,000 US dollars.
for the feasibility.
The concept note. So it's 30,000 US dollars, 100,000 US dollars for this process to be where it is by now.
So looking at, suppose you get that the money and the project is, assuming the project is successful,
Yes.
what would be the role of UNEP and these other partners, and how much will CRIBS really entitled to?
All the money that we're asking for will come to CRIBS.
Okay.
UNEP will only be kind of backstopping and maybe using its, there's an administration fee that will go to UNEP.
Okay.
So that's what they will use to backstop.
Yeah.
Otherwise, all the money comes to CRIBS.
Okay.
And CRIBS executes with our parent ministry when it comes to policies, people like you when it comes to policy, evidence, and so on. And other stakeholders.
So are you saying this as an adaptation or a mitigation?
Yeah, initially it was cross-cutting. But one of the feedback we got from GCF Secretariat is that it's either mitigation or adaptation. So given that we are working with industry, we thought we have to strengthen the mitigation bit. Although there will be a series of adaptation benefits, but this is a mitigation plan.
So I'd like to see your agreement for mitigation, because it seems like you're taking waste from this company and using it here.
Yeah.
So, and again, I know the priority for GCA for Kenya is more on adaptation. I don't know what argument the UNEP is using.
Our paradigm shift is basically moving from linear to circular. You're aware of the linear circularity debate?
I'm aware of the debate, but
Yeah.
because GCF is very, very particular on climate, so you have to show how much CO2 emissions you're reducing
Yes.
and how much it's costing you to reduce that. And you have to make the argument that BC is one of the most feasible and cheapest way of reducing CO2 emissions. So when I listen to your project, is more of waste coming from this company going to here without really thinking about the emission potential.
Yes.
Because-
You know, this is how the plan is, and you're perfectly right. We are going to promote resources efficiency production process level. That focuses on energy efficiency, water use efficiency, waste minimization at source, and adoption of renewable energy solutions. Doing that will have an avoided greenhouse gas emissions. And by the mere fact that you're diverting waste from the landfill, many of these, like organic or whatever, that also has avoided greenhouse gas emissions. So all those arguments have been factored in. And I think we have managed to convince them that this makes a lot of good sense. And a lot of jobs will be derived from waste streams. So either it's going to pollute and fill up our landfill.
And I'm really looking forward to this training,
Yeah.
because I'm not sure that, just from my limited understanding of GCF, that GCF is interested in very nice things, right? Recycling, beautiful things, circular economy, those are beautiful things. But my understanding for GCF, which I might be totally wrong, you have to talk about adaptation potential and emission reduction potential, and you have to give numbers and yeah. So, but I'm sure you are working with you then, who I think have a lot of experience. So I would really like to know what kind of.
We've done all that. In fact, I did want to present everything, but all that is, and we've strengthened a lot the green credentials of the proposal. And that is coming out to be a very convincing way. And in fact, one of the good things we got from the concept net review is that it's going to be disruptive into the Western practice, now in a secular efficient. So they're very excited with the paradigm.
Yeah, I think, that's important. But, the point you're raising is very pertinent when you are thinking about GCF proposals, because there's a lot of good things, as Jude says, about GCF. We want to create jobs, we want to enhance livelihoods, we want to support green economies and all that. But at the end of the day, perhaps Anne-Marie will tell us, when they are now making the decisions and evaluating the proposals, I think everything boils down to the numbers, the figures.
Yes.
In terms of how much tons of CO2 emissions will be abated. And that is a priority. So all these good things, this is disruptive, they're really great. And I think that is reinforced through the evaluation system and thinking. But again, how can we use that argument to really hammer into the main thing that would be the key focus when the decision is being made, whether to fund the proposal or not. But that is a